Well, howdy. Since at the moment I got my bike over in the shop, it's getting some regular maintenance done. I'm having the PCM flash so that I get USB power while it's in motion. And I'm having the new set of tires put on it for my next big thing I got coming up. I'm going to go ahead and do what's called an unboxing video. At least that's what James May says. A lot of people like watching, and you know, why not? I could use the hits. What I'm actually going to do though is I'm going to cover the adventure riding gear I picked up. My dealership gave me a great big discount for purchasing a bike, coupled with a discount for being retired military. So it brought the price of the gear right about where I wanted it. I needed to replace my old gear anyways. I had some Wolf stuff, but it's pretty old. It no longer fits as well as it could, and I managed to melt one of the legs onto my exhaust pipe at the Pan Am when I was up there gallivanting around Georgia doing the Saddle Sore 1000 Tour of Honor Extreme Ride. What I'm going to be covering today is the Grit Adventure jacket, the Grit Adventure pants, Grit Adventure gloves, the Passage Adventure gauntlet gloves, and the Gravel Outdry boots. I don't know if all you are aware of that, but Harley-Davidson has all that gear made by Rev'It. Now that's a good thing. Rev'It is a company, they have had years and years and years of experience building adventure gear. They know what they're doing, and Harley partnered with a real good company for that. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, what we're covering today is the Grit Adventure jacket, the Grit Adventure pants, the Grit Adventure gloves, the Passage Adventure gauntlet gloves, and then the Gravel Outdry boots. I still have those in the box because I guess it's not really an unboxing unless something comes out of a box. Okay, we'll start with the jacket. The jacket is made out of ripstop polyester. What that means is if you get a tear in it, these heavy lines will tend to stop the rip at that spot. Pretty abrasion resistant. It does a good job of keeping you from getting torn up in branches and stuff like that. Okay, inside of the jacket, there's actually two additional removable liners. This one on the inside, this is a thermal layer. It'll help you keep warm. If you don't need it, it unzips, so you can get rid of it. The second layer in here, this is a waterproof layer. This has vents on it, and this is, you can have the vents open and this will stay between you and the water that might get in through the vents. All the way below that, down here, what this is a spinal protector. As armor, it's supposed to help protect your spine in case of a fall. This type of jackets also have armor on the elbows and on the shoulders. Those all tend to take hits when you get off the bike unexpectedly. Also, as I found out from painful experience, when you're running on gravel roads, for some reason gravel likes to jump up and hit you right there in the funny bone. Okay, now the vents I was talking about. These unzip. Below you'll see there's vents. What this does, this lets the air get through and circulate on the inside while you keep the jacket all zipped up for protection. Over on the arms, it's the same thing. Vent, there's a mesh in here. This allows the air to go through. Around here on the back of the jacket, this zips down. This is a vent on the back. This lets the air come out at the back, where you got air going in the front, going out the back, but you still have the jacket all the way around you protecting you. On the front of the jacket, this right here, a lot of times this is where you carry your passport, your papers, and things like that if you're going overseas. Every time you cross a country border, you got a checkpoint you have to go through. That's a nice convenient place. You can just unzip it, pull it out. It's best to keep it in a plastic bag so it doesn't get wet or dirty or dusty or whatever you happen to run through. Front, both sides, there's good sized pockets there. They snap down. The leading edge is covered. That way, as you're going, it tends not to drive water into it as much as it would if it didn't have this little flap. However, especially if you're doing river crossings, you can wind up submerged, so don't put any papers in here that you don't have in a plastic bag first. One additional thing they have on the sides here is there's a little snap. What this is just someplace you can stick your hands if it's really cold and it's really windy and you just want to put your hands someplace. That's a good place to put them, because there's not really any place to do that on the pants, especially if you got a jacket on. These adjustments on the side are to make it fit a little bit better. Sometimes you want it really loose so the air really flows through, especially if you're going through a desert type of area. Other times, if you're going through single track or things like that, where you got a lot of branches reaching out and grabbing you, you're going to want to cinch it down fairly tight so it didn't reach out and grab it. Okay, on the back of it, there's a great big pouch right here. Big flat pouch. It's called a map pouch. A lot of times in the old days, people used to stick maps there. I suppose you still do when you're overseas and you're looking for better information and the GPS don't have it. I've also seen folks take a camelback bladder and stick it in there and run the hose out the side and around under the strap and up front. That helps you with the hydration. Hydration is going to be a big issue, especially if you're out doing adventure bike kind of stuff. That's a fairly physical activity compared to like normal street riding. On the front, they've got it set up. The collar snaps really tight. That way you can have a good solid seal up underneath your helmet if it's really cold, or if you're getting one of those really torrential rains that Florida's famous for. This is actually adjustable back and forth, so you can adjust how tight it is around your neck, because everybody seems to have different size necks. That pretty well covers the jacket. Now let's move on to the pants. Okay, these are the pants. They're made out of the same abrasion resistant material as the jacket. Same general design. They have armor right there at the knees that protects your knees caps, not only when you crash and you go down, but especially with all the rocks and gravel that gets kicked up and thrown straight into your kneecap. Those are worth their weight in gold. Got big, good sized pockets to put stuff in. There's a little lip that folds over that helps prevent water from getting in it. Just like the jacket, you got vents. This will help let air inside your pants, inside your thighs and your legs to help you from overheating when you're in that kind of weather. It starts getting cold, just zip it up. Okay, the inside of the legs, they've got a little bit better protection on the inside, so hopefully these things won't melt to my exhaust pipe the way my wolf riding suit did. Although, to be fair, the wolf suit was not an adventure suit. Okay, these come loose and unzip. That's just so you can get them over top of your boots easier. This also has a removable liner on the inside, depending on how cold it is and how hot it is. Has a different type of latch in there. When you latch it in, the tighter it pulls, the more it stays snug. It's not going to pop off the way the press type latches will. Take a look at the inside here. This is a thermal liner that you can unzip. If it's really hot and you're out there in the summer and you're going to be sweating a lot, you don't need an extra layer of thermal. You just take it out and roll it up and put it away. Okay, these extra zips on the back, this is so you can connect it to the jacket. That way, if you have your pants and your jacket connected together, your jacket's not going to get up and away from the pants that bad. And on the side, just like the jacket, you have the little adjustments so you can cinch it down tight. That way, if you're wearing thermals underneath of it, or if you're wearing heated pants liners underneath of it, you can leave them a little bit looser so it'll fit around it. If you're just wearing a pair of shorts underneath of them, you can cinch it all the way down tight. You can see right here they've got reflective patches on it. The jacket hat is as well. That helps you make it a little bit more visible. And as I was saying before, Rev'It's the one that actually makes it, and this is a Rev'It mark. They got these marked all up. They're proud of their gear here. These are the two different type of gloves. These over here are the Rev'It Adventure gloves, and these over here are the Passage Adventure gauntlets. The big difference between the grits and the Passage gear is the Passage gear is insulated. I'm in Florida, it's July, I'm not going to get the insulated stuff. Although I will get a set of insulated gloves because hands get cold, and even with the heated grips at the Pan America, you can still get cold. Now, the one thing that I keep hearing people say over and over again in the dealership is, wow, these things must be great for punching people. That's not what these are for. Maybe they are, maybe they ain't. I just got them. I hope I never find out. But the biggest thing this is there for off-road is to protect your knuckles. Gravel and rocks get thrown everywhere off-road. And if you're following somebody close, and his wheel spins and he throws a piece of gravel and it hits you in the knuckle there, if your knuckle's not protected, your knuckle might shatter. These are very, very important to have that right there. These are a bit lighter. They're not as hot, but they still have the heavy rubber protection right there. If you look over on the other side, this area right here, that's the part of your hand that tends to hit first when you come off the bike. It's really good to have that hit first, especially in an off-road environment. There's a good chance you're going to land on a rock or something like that. Rocks just seem to jump out and try to hit you where it hurts the worst. Okay, the inside here is designed, it's got ventilation. This area here is supposed to grip really good to the grips. Also, this area here, up in the finger, that's designed so it's sensitive to phones and things like that. So if you need to get on your phone to reroute, check Facebook, or whatever it is other people do out in the woods, you don't have to take off your gloves. These will work. Okay, these are, they call them gauntlet gloves. They have some of the same protections in the same areas. You know, the area is supposed to help grip better. You've got the little patches for touching the cell phone or other stuff that needs to get touched. Little electrical screen thing. The biggest difference is these are not ventilated. They're designed to keep your hands warm, and they're supposed to be waterproof. I'll put one of each on side by side just to show you a little bit of difference. They market these as gauntlet gloves, although I'm used to gauntlet gloves being a little bit bigger. and they market these as regular gloves. It does come further down the wrist, and it will get up underneath your jacket and help prevent the direct air on it, but there's not a huge difference. I'm used to the big floppy gauntlet gloves that go over everything. You'll see both of them right in this area here have the protection. If you go down, you tend to hit gravel there. It's got the knuckle protection, has that area protected as well. That's if the rocks and gravel get kicked up. Although the Pan America does have the shield to protect your hands, rocks find a way. They're amazing. They do that kind of stuff. I've got the grip pads on the inside there. They've got the 2 patches for doing touch phones and things like that there. Finger area here is supposed to work for that on these. That pretty much covers the gloves. Okay, now we're actually going to get into the part of the unboxing video where I'm actually going to take something out of a box. These are the men's gravel out-dry boots. That's what they call them. What these are adventure rider style boots. This style of boot is very popular for that. And it has a lot of features specifically for messing around with these heavy bikes off-road. Okay, it has a heavy toe cup, kind of like a steel toe, except it ain't made out of steel. Has a shin guard for those rocks I keep talking about that go flying up and smacking you. And it has a protective heel cup, which is supposed to help prevent your heel from getting broken, although these big bikes can do that sometimes. They open around from the side. They're waterproof, but they're also breathable somehow in a Gore-Tex kind of way. Okay, they zip on the side, but they also run up here. That way, if you step in the water up to this deep, the water's not going to go pouring into your boot. One thing I want to point out is all this gear is CE rated. What that is it's a European standard for armor for riding motorcycles. So they just didn't put a few things in there and say it's good. It actually does meet standards. Okay, these have a slight adjustment on one side. Between the two of them, put your foot in, get it all set up, and you can match it. You can let it out a little bit if you're wearing long johns underneath of it, or if you're wearing heated pants. I like to get these a little bit large so I can put a little bit larger socks on, or there's extra room if I'm going to be way up north and messing around in the snow and stuff like that. I can actually put heated boot liners in these things. If you look at the outside of them, on the top right here, they got a rubber pad. That's to help prevent wearing out the toe when you're doing the upshifting, downshifting thing. Okay, on the bottom of them, they got pretty hefty Vibram soles. If you ever had to wrestle one of these big heavy bikes over wet rocks, you really appreciate having a nice grippy sole like that. It makes life a little bit easier, not a whole lot easier. And like all the rest of the gear, you got a little reflective patch down there on the bottom. Well, that pretty much covers all the gear. I'm going to go ahead and put it on and show you what the whole thing looks like together. Okay, this is it. This is the whole suit put together. Fits like a charm. The weight runs really well on your hips, on your back. Totally maneuverable. Bend forward, you can do anything you want. Of course, in the riding position, that's the way all the joints and everything are formed, so it fits right there. Also for the standing up on the peg off-road riding position, it works good for that. Take a look at the protection. You've got a continual layer of protection from the knees to the shins, all the way down into the feet, overlapping plates to protect it. You get the rocks thrown up, or if you hit tree limbs or branches or anything on the ground, all set, ready to go. Well, that's it for this video. Hopefully it's a little bit more interesting than my last one. Hopefully I explained a couple of things to these weird suits you see showing up in the Harley dealer and why adventure riders wear them and what they are. And give you an idea of whether or not they're right for you or not, because they definitely ain't for everybody. But you can get used to them pretty quick. It's just a matter of wearing them in and knowing how they feel. They can also get some interesting comments. I was down in Key West a few years back doing the Tour of Honor ride, and there was a memorial down there I needed to get a picture of. And it was kind of funny. I was walking through there and everybody's kind of looking and pointing and talking and asking, how come he's wearing a snowmobile suit? Which is really kind of a strange thing, seeing as I showed up in the middle of Fantasy Fest. And if you think about what everybody else was wearing, the fact that I was a strange one kind of says something. Well, an adventure's an adventure. It's another good story to tell. Till next time, take care and stay safe out there.